Hope you enjoyed your spring break. I know I did. I really missed you guys though. I wish I could see your faces. I was hoping that maybe later this week I could do a Google Meet so that I can at least see you because I really do miss all of you. I hope you're doing well. I hope everyone in your family's doing well. My family's doing great. So let's get started. If you need a packet for 8.1 and you haven't picked one up, the school does have them. So if you can call the school office, make arrangements for you to pick up the packets at school, you could take the notes on those packets. If you would rather just do them, or you can't get to the school and you'd rather just do them on your own paper, you're more than welcome to do that. There are two Shmoop videos attached to this lesson. I'm not going to show them to you right now. One of them is a review on exponents. I encourage you to watch it. I will attach it to the schedule that has your assignments on it for this week. Please watch those videos. There will be two videos from me for lesson 8.1 examples 3 and 4 because I really do want you to go on the dynamic classroom and at least try some of these problems. So I want to make sure that you do that and I can see your work before I actually give you the assignment or you move on with the assignment. So those two, there's Shmoop exponent review and then there's one on order of operations. I encourage you to watch them both. I'm going to start off with a review on order of operations here. We discussed this before we took our little extended break to do our at-home learning during this pandemic. So I'm just going to quick review the order of operations. This refers to how all equations and expressions are solved. It's sort of like the law, the order that you solve all problems in to make sure that everyone comes up with the same answer each time. So you always start off with the order of operations. You always start off with parentheses or what are known as grouping symbols. Grouping symbols can be brackets, they can be parentheses, they can be absolute value symbols, anything that groups expressions or equations with operations inside of them together. You would always do those first. Once you remove that parentheses, you move on to exponents. These are the numbers that we were doing with the little tiny number in the corner. These are repeated multiplication of a base number. You would always simplify those first before moving on to the next part of solving your equation or expression, which would be multiplication and division. You would do multiplication and division next, and you read the equation like you read a sentence from left to right. And as you read that equation from left to right, you would do multiplication or division, whichever comes first. If multiplication doesn't come first, you would do division first, and vice versa. Then lastly, you resolve any addition and subtraction, and you do them the same way as you would do multiplication or division. You would read them from left to right and do addition or subtraction, whichever comes first. Now, this isn't actually part of your notes, but feel free to write it down on a blank piece of paper. It will help you to remember how to do order of operations. This isn't part of your notes either. This is an actual equation that I wanted to try with you. I'm going to first examine it, and upon examination I notice that it's got an exponent, a division, there's a subtraction here, and right away my eye goes to the parentheses and the brackets, the first thing I would need to do. So I'm looking at that and I know these brackets have to be done first. So I look within the brackets and I use the same order of operation within the brackets as I would if the brackets didn't exist. So within the brackets I notice there's a 2 outside of parentheses. So the very first thing I know I need to do is resolve those parentheses. I need to rewrite each time so that my equation stays in order, keep it in order, and rewrite each time I resolve part of that expression. So I'm resolving the 6 minus 3 to be 3. And then I rewrite the rest of my problem around that. I still have brackets though to contend with, and inside the brackets I've got 2 times 3. The 2 and 3 are next to one another, separated by the parentheses. That means multiply. Notice I keep the brackets around that 2 times 3 equals 6, just to show I'm not finished resolving it, because that 3 hanging around outside the brackets means everything inside gets multiplied by 3. So I'm going to do that right here. I'm going to multiply this times 3, I end up with 18. So now I can rewrite my expression. I get 4 minus 6 squared, or to the second power, divided by 18. And now I can resolve my exponents. My exponent here is 6 to the second power, which is 6 times itself, which is 36. So I'm going to rewrite my problem for minus 36 divided by 18. The next step would be to do multiplication or division from left to right, whichever comes first. Well, there's no multiplication here, only division. And 36 divided by 18, I know, is 2. So I rewrite my expression, 4 minus 2. And the last thing I would do here now is the subtraction. 4 minus 2 is 2. All right, so here's where you're going to start your notes. And remember that you can access this same video online on Big Ideas if you need to. All right, so in expression A, I have 3 plus 2 times 3 to the 4th power. The first thing I need to do is I notice there's no parentheses, so I know I would have to do the exponents first. And there's 3 to the 4th power. So I have 3 times itself 4 times. And then when I resolve that, I end up with 3 times 3, which is 9, times another 3 times 3, which is another 9, and I end up with 81. So now I can rewrite my expression, 3 plus 2 times 81. Next, I do multiplication or division. There's no division here, only multiplication. 2 times 81 is 162. So I rewrite my expression. Lastly, I do addition or subtraction. 3 plus 162 is 165, and that one is complete. Be sure to pause the video so you can write all the notes in. Next example, B. Example B has 3 to the 3rd power minus 8 to the 2nd power divided by 2. Notice no parentheses, so I'm going to start out by solving or resolving my exponents. I have 3's times themselves 3 times, and then I have a base of 8 times itself twice, or times itself. So I resolve it. 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3, I get 27. And over here I have 8 times itself, which is 81. And then I go ahead back into my problem and I rewrite those two resolved exponents in the expression. Next, multiplication and division. Multiplication and division gets done next, so I have only division here. So I do 27 minus 64 divided by 2. 64 divided by 2 is 32. So I go ahead and rewrite my expression. 27 minus 32. Lastly, addition and subtraction. There's no addition here. Subtraction. 27 minus 32 is going to give me a negative number because when I take more away than I have, I end up with a negative 5. So part B is resolved. Lastly, example C. Example C says negative 3 times the quantity, negative 10 to the 2nd power plus 70. So I have a couple things going on here. I have parentheses, and within the parentheses I also have an exponent. So I need to resolve that first. The exponent within the parentheses is 10 times itself with the negative sign attached to it, which gives me negative 100. So I rewrite my expression, negative 3 times, and I notice I left the parentheses up, negative 100 plus 70. I have to finish now what's inside the parentheses. Negative 100 plus 70 is negative 30. So now I have negative 3 times negative 30. And together, when I multiply those out, I get 90. Okay? So, in summary, and this part is not in your notes, but like I said, feel free to write it. You need to follow the order of operations to evaluate an expression using the part of examining the problem before you write. Before you do anything, examine first. Next, your parentheses. Parentheses are any and all grouping symbols, and those get done first. Those grouping symbols can be parentheses, they can be brackets, they can be even absolute value symbols. Remember, an absolute value is the distance on a number line from 0 to the number. So it is a distance which will always be a positive number. So when you actually resolve parentheses that are absolute, or resolve absolute values, you make sure your answer is positive. Then you do your exponents. Find the value of the products of the bases. Multiply the bases to themselves, however times Many times the exponent tells you. Then you do multiplication or division. This is from left to right, whichever comes first. Okay, and then lastly, addition and subtraction again, whichever comes first from left to right, and that's what you would do to resolve or evaluate your expressions. All right, so next you have several examples, examples 7 through 9, and then you also have examples 10 through 17 on Big Ideas Dynamic Classroom. I want you to go there now, and I want you to try these problems, 7, 8, 9, in your Big Ideas. Then you're going to do 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 in Big Ideas on Dynamic Classroom. If you can't remember how to get to that, please send me an email telling me to send you a flip. And you know, when I send you a flip, you have to already be in the Dynamic Classroom. I did a video on this last week. Look for it so that you can get in the Dynamic Classroom and I can send you a flip. Okay, so now you actually need to go there, get on Dynamic Classroom so you can do those problems. And my little video guy is not going to show up. That's too bad because there he is. He's kind of cool actually. I like him. And he's de-stressing on Monday. It says take a little dance break. So don't take too long of a dance break. Go to Big Ideas Dynamic Classroom. Try to find those triads for 8.1, starting with triad number 7. Make sure you submit them. Some of you did not do that last time. And when you're finished with that, go to the next video. Thank you.